SaaS went on a hype curve, especially during the COVID time.
Google has accepted that 20 to 30% of their code is actually generative AI.
We are still playing on cost arbitrage and not in innovation.
What does that mean for engineering? Is engineering dead?
Very difficult to answer, but of course, with this evolution of the ecosystem that is happening.
If product management were a sport, what would it be?
I think chess.
With AI coming in, is SaaS going to be dead?
We see it as an opportunity. Simply reason being, there are tons of software that an enterprise needs to. The motivation of the problem that we want to solve. Many times the problem motivation comes from customers themselves.
How did product market fit look for you?
Our product market fitment keeps evolving, but the scope of the problem that we were trying to solve was only limited to fewer number of, I would say.
Hello, my name is Malti and I'm a product consultant, leadership coach and a trainer. I'm also the host and founder of Product Talk with Malti. In today's episode, we are going to be talking to Kapil Jaiswal, who's the head of products at Whatfix. He has a rich experience of building B2B products. He has done his own startups and has been with Whatfix for close to 9 years. And beyond that, he has also worked in some large MNCs. In today's episode, we are going to touch upon his experience sharing of what it takes for Indian B2B products to go global. And so tune in to this episode to learn more about these strategies and subscribe, like, and comment. So let's get started. Now, probably, Kapil, I would like to start to address with the elephant in the room, right? You've been in building products for a very long time, right? Including a lot of years at Whatfix. How do you see AI disrupting product management? If I can just quote, recently, as we were discussing, Google has accepted that 20 to 30% of their code is actually generative AI, right? And what does that mean for engineering? Is engineering dead, right, in the coming years? So how do you think has AI disrupted product management, and how do you see that affecting? So it's like, if I have to ask, is product management dead?
Yeah, is product management dead is like a clickbait. I would say product management will evolve. We see it as an opportunity. Generative AI and the kind of evolution it is having. We are all seeing with the pace of change that is happening with every new model enhancements. I believe we are still to see where the generative AI evolution is going to pace. I would say stop evolution in the sense that we will know, okay, this we have hit the ceiling. I think for now it is still evolving and we are yet to see the final scope of things that is going to pan out. Product management, I would say, still very early days for us to take any call of whether it is going to be dead or what is going to happen. It's going to be, I would feel it's more like an evolution for us. And product managers are problem solvers. Generative AI is a new solution, and this solution will lead to more problems. So I feel product management is here to stay. It's just that we are going to solve this problem in a very different way. We'll of course use generative AI. A lot of tooling we will use. The way we are going to work is slightly going to be different. But the product management mindset of being problem solver is going to remain relevant.
Yeah, I agree. And the whole context, the business acumen that we bring in to top up on that. So I think, as you said, it's more that how is product management going to evolve with AI?
Yes, that is going to be the question. How the product management is going to evolve?
Yeah,
I think this is something which we all are going to witness. But I am very hopeful that with this newer generative AI solution, product management will use this to solve newer problems.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I would like to go back to the theme of the topic today, right? I mean, you have seen Whatfix go from, let's say, 0 to 1, 1 to 10, and now 10 to 100 phase, right? Now, my question to you is that, and in general, how does, when a company is kind of building its product, how did product market fit look for you guys?
Product market fit is a journey. I think we still believe our product market fitment keeps evolving with every year. From the very start, if I start to talk about our journey, we found a problem, and we found a problem that was resonating with a large amount of audience. But the scope of the problem that we were trying to solve was only limited to fewer number of, I would say, customers or segment of customers. So when we started, Whatfix started, if you would know, as a community. So it was meant to create the guided flows in which, if you have a question like how do I book my ticket, so you can create that workflow using Whatfix, and you can upload it just like YouTube community. You had Whatfix community. You can upload that flow, and anybody can come and consume. So this was the first product, was more like a community version, consumer to consumer. And when this journey was happening, and of course the founders were working on it, slowly some of the SMBs approached, and whether they said they can integrate this technology into their product to provide the help to their customers. And that is how the B2B pivot happened. And we very early realized, because as they say, right, if you are still thinking about product market fit, probably there is no product market fit. And that actually showed when we pivoted to B2B. A lot of SMBs or a lot of customers, a lot of people started approaching us that we would also want to integrate this and we would want to utilize this technology. And that is where we felt that we have hit a problem which is something resonating with a larger audience, and of course a paying audience. So being a B2B company, of course, people have to pay, or willingness to pay only shows whether there is a large product market for us or greater product market fit. And that is how we started. The journey started with SMBs. And slowly, I think the early customers were Indian customers for us. Then, of course, we got some few enterprise or customers from America, but they were mostly innovators. So if I can put in a framework, as Roger Moore says, as a Moore's philosophy, right, you have innovators, and then you have early adopters, and you have late adopters, and then early majority. So in this, I think the customized customers who approached us to use Whatfix technology were all the innovators. A lot of enterprise companies have innovation as a department. So they were the ones who actually reached out and try out this technology. And then as slowly we started progressing, we found that if we need to approach a larger segment of customers, then this augmented product also has to be added. So for example, I'll give you a lot of enterprise needs became very relevant in just not the core product that we were solving. You wanted to have security, you wanted to have accessibility, you wanted to have authentication needs. So all these became very essential, though they are not solving the core problem, but the augmentative services are very essential to target a segment. So it has been a throughout journey for us. We kept on identifying newer segments, newer personas. So initially when we started targeting enterprises, the L&D persona was the core persona for us. They were the ones who were resonating very well with us. So slowly, I think L&D we kept on targeting in a lot of enterprises. Slowly we saw in the IT also as a persona where we started seeing a fitment. Now for their needs are also slightly different. So we added more capabilities to the product. So this product market fit, we believe, is a journey. So you might, when you start a product, you will come up with the addressable market, which might be billions of dollars. But the serviceable part of it might be in millions. So how do you keep increasing the concentric circles of your serviceable market is the journey of the product. So your product market fit is your market keeps evolving, and your product also has to evolve along with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, how can become that drop to become a slightly more bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So, and of course, the competitors also play their part. Competitors also raising the bar. They're also bringing in newer nuances or capabilities of the product. So that also keeps increasing the bar for you of how the product needs to evolve. And of course, the market you choose and the more aggressive on what markets how you want to evolve. I think so product market fit is a journey, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's right. Now, see, if I come to Whatfix, right? I mean, largely your presence has been very global from the very start,
Yes.
right? With a fair share of market outside India, right? Now, I would like to understand that how has been the posture of Whatfix, right? For example, a lot of times when you are kind of working with these customers, are they kind of treating you more as partners? How does the overall stereotype looks like, and how has Whatfix addressed that, in terms of their working relationship with those global customers?
As of now, almost 80 of the Fortune companies are our customers. And to work with these enterprise customers, you really need to have a approach of a partner. Otherwise, this doesn't work. But of course, this was not from the very start. The DNA, and we really didn't think that we will come this long. And so we didn't think that we should have a very partnership approach. What we worked for us was a very customer first mindset. I think that was something very inherent in our DNA. I think the founders have done a very good job in keep hammering this into from the very start. So, and that has really helped us. So that was the first thing when we approached our customers, enterprise customers, that initial customers that we had, the kind of mindset that we showed with them. I think that really helped us navigate this path. And then, of course, the investments we kept on making along this journey. We very early in the stage, we established a customer success department to ensure that we have a one-on-one customer success manager for all enterprise customers that we have, to ensure that they receive value. So value becomes a very inherent part when you work with enterprises, because these deals are generally very large. And we always, our I would say, ACVs of every large customer every year has been increasing. And now our largest customers are paying us multi-million dollars. So showing value becomes very inherent. I think customer success plays a very good part there. Second is innovation. How do you show innovation as a partner? So a lot of our innovation comes from our customers who sign up as design partners with us. So we work with our customers to identify problems which they would also want to solve, also works in overall framework of our category. And we work with them, co-create the problem, solve the problem with them, and then bring the product to market. So design partnership is also something which we have taken in that approach. So I think partnership also from that angle of innovation. Mm-hmm. Then also we invested in, I would say, executive alignment with our enterprise customers. So we started having our customer advisory boards, in which we, I would say, recruited a lot of our enterprise strategic customers, especially folks from customers who are having, I would say, sponsor of our budget, not the implementers. So we got them in our executive advisory board, in which we used to have every quarter. And we have different advisory boards now. Initially, it was only one. Now, depending on the, I would say, vertical, we also have different advisory boards. Also, depending on the geography, we have different advisory boards. So this is like 10 or 12 customers who come together every quarter. We also share them our new ideas that we work on, take their feedback. Also, we have the customers talk to among each other. They share their case studies. So that also becomes very important part of how they see us, of bringing, I would say, more innovation, not only innovation, but also what is happening in the industry. So they see us somebody who can look up to on thought leadership. Then another angle that is on the approach towards building, I would say, this whole implementation partners that we have, right? SIs, GSIs, all large enterprises work with GSIs and SIs. So we started partnering with them also, because you have to build the entire ecosystem for enterprises to really, see you as a partner. So we have a lot of GSIs, like we have Infosys, we have Wipro, we have Tata, then we have Accenture, who work with us. And we of course, sometimes we take along with them with us to our enterprise customers, and sometimes enterprise customers ask us to work with them, their preferred GSI. So I would say these things have helped us throughout our journey of really being, calling ourselves proudly to be partners of enterprise customers.
Yeah. And how much is product involved in this?
Product is involved a lot. All innovation, product is involved. Customer advisory board, I generally, me and my founder generally participate in customer advisory boards, where we take our roadmap or any new innovation that we think about, identification of white spaces along with them. Mm-hmm. Executive alignment. So one more thing that we have done is, so of course we expect product leaders to meet the customers regularly, but because you have got now hundreds of enterprise customers with us, it's not very possible for one person to meet so many of them. So what we have done among our leadership, around 7 or 8 of us, has been aligned 8 to 10 or 6 to 8 accounts for each of us, in which we quarterly meet the sponsors also of our enterprise customers, understand their pain point, whether they are seeing value, any gaps they see, how can we address those problems. This is also, we set up a quarterly one-on-one with our executive sponsors of our customers. Okay.
Oh, very interesting. I mean, it's like literally like co-creating
yes.
it so with customers. So that also translates into to be able to deliver value. Yeah. But one interesting aspect, see, I have worked in MNCs where, there is a headquarter and we are the, the arm which is kind of taking care of engineering, product over in a different location, right? Now, in this case, there is a slight spin-off where the headquarters are in India and the customers are all over the world. And as I understand, it's a fair share of percentage of customers who are like global, right? How do you make sure that, your PMs are high on empathy and be closely connected to the customers?
Yeah, so organizational design, I would say, would not really answer that, because other than one product manager who is in US and one of the founders, uh, all our product managers are based out of India office. And of course, the entire R&D, the designers, the
That's
product
very
managers,
interesting.
the product managers and engineers, all based out of India office. So how do we build this empathy? We do multiple things. One is, of course, we expect our product managers also to keep traveling, keep meeting our customers. So that definitely we push for this. That travel is essential part of product management for us. So at least 1 or 2 travels a year that we do. Second is, of course, in this world where things are being remote and COVID really challenging how much of face-to-face and in-person is required, we have our PMs almost, I would say, every PM being on customer calls twice or thrice or maybe more in a week. So that is something which we also push a lot. We have various ways to connect with our customers. So customers share their inputs. Either we have a quarterly NPS that we do, that is one source. Then they can share their feedback directly from within the product, that is another source. Then customer advisory boards that we hold, that's another source. We hold user group meetings. So every quarter there is a user group meeting in a region. And one of the PMs will go there and meet a set of customers belonging to that particular city or nearby area. So that is also one area where we take inputs from. Then we have set up a Whatfix community among all our customers, where customers come, share their problems, and of course other customers also talk among each other, they share, and of course we get inputs from there also, where PMs are also expected to go and communicate with them. So we have different channels in which PMs largely communicate. And of course, as is mentioned, right, travel is the essential part. And we of course use a lot of chorus recording. So we want to use technology as much as possible. A lot of our customer success folks are on constant discussion with their customers. For example, I'm a customer success manager of an account. I might be meeting daily, or maybe 3 or 4 times in a week, or 2 times in a week. So there are chorus recordings, and what we have done, we have put trackers in chorus recordings. Certain topics, if it gets talked about, that trigger a mail to the PMs that probably you may want to hear these chorus recordings and get more insights, and then probably may require a follow-up meeting with the customer directly. So we use a lot of triggers also, which helps customers, our product managers set up meetings with customers.
Okay, that's very interesting. That's a new takeaway for me, to put these trackers,
Yeah.
so that appropriate product manager is notified, saying that, hey, they are talking about this particular requirement or this particular feature. So yeah.
Yeah, so we are very active on Chorus, all product managers. So we actually record all our conversations, all our product leaders, including me. We get summary of all the discussions that are happening. And something which is interesting too is we of course use that to talk more about our product managers. If needed, probably we'll jump to our product even customers and talk to them. One interesting thing we recently started was we use NPS. So NPS, of course, you ask, right, what's the rating that you have given? And then you ask for one thing which we can do better. So that one thing which can be do better is a very good qualitative feedback that I think product management uses a lot. And we use that to talk to customers. So based on this feedback, we may want to ask you more queries on it and understand better. What we have recently started is not everybody, but just the 4 or 5 product leads that we have. We check our passive customers, all the customers who are giving us 7 or 8. Our hypothesis is these customers are on the fence. They are happy, but not that happy. So we generally get on a call with them, try to understand what could make them a promoter, or what is the gap that they see in the product. So this is like also not just the product manager, product leaders also get into calls with a lot of customers. Like 20% of our customers this time were passive. So 20% is a huge volume for us. So we divided among the 4 or 5 of us. Of as much as we can, we'll talk and understand more.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way of doing some cohort analysis and say, okay, these are most likely, section of customers who can move on to the other side of the fence. Yeah. No, I think those are some wonderful insights. Now, in the last, I think 10, 15 years, SaaS has been like a buzzword, right? And I think from India, especially if I talk about, I think B2B SaaS, if I take some other examples of some of the other incumbents like Freshworks, Zoho, they've done fairly well in terms of, reaching out to a global market and setting up some of those examples here, including Whatfix, right? But do you see like there is a lot of how do I say, saturation happening there. There is a lot of competition out there. In fact, I think this was in my conversation with Rajan probably. He was talking about folks are asking him that, with AI coming in, is SaaS going to be dead, right? So what's your take on that?
See, Malti, I'm not a macro guy, but in general, I can from some basics, I would say I can answer few things on this. One is SaaS went on a hype curve, especially during the COVID time. Valuations, I think, were like off the roof. So I think this is some bit of mean reversion that is happening. And because of this mean reversion, people are thinking that, of course, SaaS probably is going to go away. So that is one angle of it. If I take a little bottoms-up approach, if you look at the top SaaS companies, recently Atlassian came with its result. At a 5 billion ARR, they are growing at 30%. And there are many such companies, CrowdStrike, Samsara, SentinelOne. There's so many customers who are like more than $1 billion ARR, growing at more than 25-30%. So at such a scale, I would not think that SaaS is definitely dead. They are very much ingrained in the workflows of companies. I think in our organization, if I need to remove CrowdStrike or let's say Jira, I don't think so I can imagine that, at least now. So at least in the near future, I don't think so this question is very relevant. So SaaS is more like a business model, right?
Yeah.
It's like a service that we are giving. In the world of AI, things again, SaaS may evolve as people are saying, right, with agentic models coming in, or companies coming in, probably it will change. It is not software as a service, but you are basically replacing the humans.
Correct.
So we are yet to see. Maybe in pockets it will happen. Certain industries or certain functions might happen, but I don't think so that overall SaaS is going to die down. Maybe some degrowth might happen, but I don't think so SaaS is going away.
Yeah, and I think it, as you said, one of the key things is it solves some very integral problems, workflows for the businesses.
Yeah.
Right? Any numbers that are there globally, Kapil, which talks about what, especially with the incumbents or the legacy companies, how does the adoption of SaaS itself looks like?
Please don't hold on to this number, but last I remember around still in enterprise software companies, I would say enterprise companies, only 30-35% are the softwares which have been migrated to SaaS.
Yeah.
There's a still huge chunk. So if I don't go that far, right, just from a Whatfix perspective, a lot of our customers, enterprise customers who have deployed Whatfix on their applications for adoption, a lot of them are non-SaaS companies, custom apps that being built by the SIs and GSIs, or they're internally built. I would say almost 50-60% of them.
Correct.
So just from this, I can say that there is a long way for SaaS to go still. Things will evolve for sure. So I would say SaaS as a business model may evolve or change, but the companies who are solving that problem are going to be still relevant.
No, I agree with you, because see, again, these kind of changes don't happen like overnight. I would say these are like multi-year projects. And
now the companies are also very smart about this, right? They understand if they don't change, they will get disrupted.
Exactly.
I think if you see Oracle totally on-premise, they evolved right to a SaaS company now.
Correct.
Microsoft also evolved.
Correct.
Salesforce was the first true SaaS company which bottoms up, but most of the other companies have been evolving.
Correct. No, I agree. Now, one big part of the SaaS model is moving away from the licensing model, or into a subscription model. Now, one of the other thing that I kind of hear is there is a subscription fatigue setting in. For example, in one of the recent conversations that I was having is people are wanting to go more for usage-based pricing, right? Do you have any thoughts on that? Some similar observations that you've had?
So subscription fatigue is, I would say, quite possibly be there. The simple reason being there are tons of softwares that an enterprise needs to track and manage. In a company of our size, which is very, very small, Whatfix, right, as compared to large enterprises, we have got hundreds of softwares being used across the departments. And then there is shadow IT. A lot of software is being used which the IT or the enterprise is not even aware of, right? This just adds to the problems more. Then because the SaaS is sometimes, I would say, seat-based, they ask the questions on the value. So the value becomes a question, right? How do you show ROI also becomes challenge, and that's why I would say the enterprises get fatigued, right? How do I judge value from each of these SaaS companies? And then there are volume of SaaS companies they have. So that also I see as an opportunity, companies to innovate on how do they do pricing, how do they simplify the enterprise pricing. Usage-based pricing may work or not work depending on the nature of the product also. Not all softwares can go towards usage-based pricing, I believe. Some companies it fits very organically, some may not. And moreover, enterprises sometimes don't really appreciate usage-based pricing also, because they are looking for more deterministic pricing, right? Usage-based pricing fluctuates, and they are generally they want a budget allocation for a year. So that's why they also prefer something you tell me upfront rather than which keeps on changing every quarter for me.
So that I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so that is very common in enterprises. They also need very deterministic pricing for them.
Yeah, no, that is true. And talking about pricing, Kapil, I remember reading somewhere, I think this was early years of Whatfix, when in some, I think it was in a conference or in some event where, Whatfix at that point of time was still experimenting with their pricing, right?
Sure.
So can you just talk about, how Whatfix's principles are? If you want to talk about that event, I don't remember that event completely, but that was, I think, a very pivotal moment in kind of determining the pricing positioning for a global player, right? So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so this is something which I have not, I was not there personally, but of course one of the founders, Khadem and Vara and all were there. And what happened, if I recall correctly, was we were underquoting the price, and enterprises were like, okay, I can pay much more. Why are you putting such a low price? So that's what we realized very early. I think probably you always should err on the side of putting a higher price quote than an underprice quote, especially for enterprises, because you don't know the propensity of how much they can pay or their willingness to pay. So always try to pull up more and more and more. And then of course market will of course tell you back, right, where you would need to come down or go up further. But sometimes I feel I have talked to few of the startups, and where they always feel, okay, should I price it lower, or should I really go that high? So from my experience, I've always told, okay, price high, doesn't really matter. Just price high and see what happens. Or with every new customer, just make it 20% higher.
And now that, let's say if you are coming out with new set of products and all that, are those like the guiding principles that you experiment with?
Yes, I think so. Yesterday only there was a meeting, and we have recently launched a new product called Mirror. So it's our third product line we recently launched, and yesterday we were discussing about some of the opportunities that probably are in the pipeline, and the ones we recently closed. So the early 1 or 2 deals were like, fortunately for us, because we already have a set of customers who have our DApp product. So we of course go and cross-sell them these newer products with us. And some of the early deals of Mirror were like 100K plus. And yesterday only we got like, okay, in this quarter we closed another deal for our enterprise customer, which is like 30K. And one of the team members of this Mirror product said, just 30K. So I was telling them, just because we had 100K plus, don't underestimate 30K. 30K US dollars is not less. When I joined Whatfix, our overall revenue only was 20K. So that is how, how people think and change.
Yeah, well said. I think, the magnanimity kind of, evolves with that. But yeah, I mean, well said in terms of we continue to need to not underrate the effort that goes in our position. And but I think with more value-based pricing.
So value-based pricing, software, it's so generally we don't do cost plus pricing, right? It's always value-based pricing. But to understand how much value it is actually a customer is perceiving also is I would say discovery and challenge. But always try to err on the higher side, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's right. At least you still have a opportunity to correct, right? If you feel the body language
with the next customer.
With the next customer. That is correct. So you spoke about, a lot of different things that you as a leader and as a team that you do in order to continue to build your customer empathy. Now, while co-creation is definitely a very, I would say, aspirational things, and it is great that to a great extent you guys have been able to do, but especially managing enterprise customers can be very tricky, right? Because these are also high value customers big players in the market, right? So as a product leader, how do you go about managing those customer expectations, especially in terms of your influence on your product roadmap, right? Not everything that they say you
True.
can do it. So how do you kind of play that space?
Yeah, so this is, I would say, very interesting part of doing product management for a B2B, especially catering to enterprise customers. So I would say enterprise ecosystem, not just customers, your customer success team, who is a representative of customer, the customer themselves. Then there is sales, the go-to-market team also, who are also trying to get more prospects. So, and then how do you manage this roadmap within all these? Because all these customers or prospects are pretty heavyweight in the terms of the business they're going to give you or take away from you. So it becomes very challenging. If for every customer success manager, their customer is the most important to them. Whatever rationale you give to a customer success manager, of course, you don't want to give any rationale to a customer or why you don't want to do this now. You would want to treat them or tell the same thing in a very different way. But to a customer success manager, you will not tell them, okay, I cannot prioritize for your customer, and he's saying, okay, this customer is going to churn, enterprise customer, if you don't deliver this thing to him. Because for him or her, this customer is the most important. Their KPI are tied to that customer churn. Similarly, for a sales, if I am doing a prospect sale, enterprise sales, that particular customer, my entire KPI or incentive is tied to this one large big deal that I'm doing. So how do you tackle? So it is very challenging, and moreover, enterprise customers themselves, the escalations and their escalations will go till CEO, because they are paying you multi-million dollars. They are of course entitled to reach out to everybody, to me, to CEO, to anybody they can, to ensure that what they are asking for is getting addressed. So generally, what I have tried to address it in 2 or 3 ways. One is structurally. How do you structure the roadmap creation in a way that it tries to address these in some form or fashion? So of course, every requirement that comes or every problem that comes, you have to take it on its merit. Some problems you want to solve, but not now. So generally what we do in our roadmap is you do the immediate quarter, what you want to address, then of course next and later. So next, these are more like, I would say directionally, and with the intent that we are showing, we would want to address all of them, but we don't really put a timeline to it because they are very probabilistic in nature. Things can change every quarter. So this is something which we share to our customer and we inform them. So what you are asking, if it's already there in the roadmap, we tell them, okay, this is going to come now, later, and if it is not going to come, and if the problem is relevant to us and we have not, and we don't plan our roadmaps beyond a year. We don't think planning beyond a year roadmap is adding any value. So, and if we don't see it in coming in a year and customer thinks that's a top priority for them and they are not willing to wait and they want a definite answer, so we try to find alternative solutions. So we have, of course, a professional services team, solutioning team that we work, the product management will work with them. So if we can craft an alternative solution with them, right, for them, only if we think that this probably can come, but not immediately in the roadmap. So that is one way we try to address these requirements. We also keep 10 to 15% of the roadmap slightly fluid. So bandwidth, we keep it open. If something comes from our multi-million dollar customer and it has reached out to the CEO and it needs to be accelerated for now, probably we keep certain bandwidth also for such requirements. But of course, this should be far and few. So this is some arrangement that we keep with also our customer success head, that in a quarter, probably you need to give me a priority of 2 or 3 customers that you feel are going to be very important for you for this quarter. And whether they are really going to get churned, or because for every CSM, any escalation from a customer, they feel it's going to churn. So that I would say I generally delegate also to the customer success head. Why do you think this customer is really a churn candidate? And we use that bandwidth for that. Similarly for sales, right? So in generally sales, what we do is we try to look at pattern. 2-3 quarters, definitely there is something which is coming in the deals. We are losing out on because of it. We identify that pattern and then we try to address. But again, certain large customer enterprise prospect comes, very important. This capability our competitor has, you don't have. Without this, we cannot close. So again, we use certain bandwidth that we've kept it open in the roadmap, try to address. So this is the challenge and part of B2B, because sometimes your competitor also drives certain requirement, they will plant it. They will just plant it because they know currently you are not solving this problem for the customer, so they'll plant. And this we have been seeing for a lot of times in our journey. So how do we try to address is, okay, we try to understand the problem, we try to understand from the prospect, is this the really problem? Many times we understand it is being planted, and the prospect himself will say, no, it's not required, and that way we help the sales. But prospect, no, it really has a problem and he wants to solve, but we have not really validated with our larger set of customers or audience. So what we generally do is we'll try to build a quick hacky solution for that prospect, and once they get onboarded, we'll of course try to validate with a larger set of customers before we really build a proper solution around it.
But how easy it is to experiment in a B2B setup, right? Like B2C, for example, it is far more easier with the control group, and you kind of ship it out with 1%, 0.2% of your customers. How do you do this in a B2B setup?
Yeah, so again, the motivation of the problem that we want to solve, many times the problem motivation comes from customer themselves. So let's say there are 10 or 15 customers who have started talking about a similar problem. So then we will try to cohort them, right? Are they in some nature similar, that why they are having these problems? So if let's say we are able to cohort them in a certain way, group them, then we look into our existing customer base, who are the other customers who can belong to this group. Then we ask we have a user researcher team, the PM will basically pair up with the user researcher team, go to these set of also customers, talk with them about this problem. They may not be an immediate stack ranked high for the problem for them, but it is something which is relevant to them. If we identify and understand, okay, in this entire group of customers that we are having, this is a relevant problem to solve. So this is how we validate the problem first, and then of course the prototyping, take it to the customers, validate, and then the whole journey starts.
Okay, yeah, and makes sense to invest in this, then learning that, okay, this was actually, I remember talking to one of my clients where they said, they have a separate product team and a separate solutions team. And most of the time, the kind of, the solutions they build on top of the standard product, it is useful only for one customer. And they realize that once they have created it, they are not able to figure out requirement in other customers. And that is one set of problem where you're not able to scale the feature to other customers, right? So that's an effort which is not really very useful, except for, of course, the customer who's paying for it. The second challenge that they face is when the customer is looking to upgrade, because there has been so much of customization, there has been so much of these add-on solutions on top of the vanilla product, that upgrade becomes a challenge.
So these are all challenges. I'm not saying that we don't have such challenges. So we also have a solutioning team, they also build, but we put a lot of guardrails. What kind of APIs you are using to build that solution, right? The solutions also, it gets reviewed. So depending if something is being asked in the product which we cannot deliver now, we of course take the help of solutioning team if this can be delivered, because your product is never ready, right? There's always one customer who is more innovative in nature. Sometimes they have a more varied requirements, but this is something which we would want to address. So we take help of solutioning team, but enough guardrails that there's something which product is not aware and we just keep on building. Something which you believe, okay, next 1 year or so, we'll try to get into the roadmap.
Right. That saves a lot of effort and burnout, I would say.
It helps also, right? Sometimes you just want to, I would say, get a market share of customers for which the product is not yet ready, and you want to be aggressive there. So I think this solutioning helps us to basically cater to that market.
Yeah, no, that is right. It has to be a balance, as you said earlier, right? I mean, these are the trade-offs where, again, as a product manager, you bring in that context, you bring in that business acumen, the expertise in that space, and truly as a product manager, you add value.
Yeah, so we have made our share of a lot of mistakes, and but good thing is we are able to identify and keep correcting them.
So the other thing, Kapil, I would love to also learn is that we have seen not too many players, whether it is B2B or B2C from India going global, right? Of course, there are quite a fair number of unicorns, quite a fair number of success stories. But are there any, advice that you would give for these B2B startups who are looking to go global in terms of their GTM strategy, in terms of how to set up their sales-led motion that will help them to grow globally?
One thing definitely from the very start, if the product nature is not very peculiar to a certain geography, they should aspire from the day one to go global. I think that aspiration has to be there first, because I have often seen startups who just try to cater to somebody or all customers who are in that particular region and not go beyond that. They feel that, okay, they will evolve the product and then they will think of taking it. But I would say we can start thinking from day one. If we have understood there is a certain fitment of the product, I think we should aspire. So aspiration definitely is one. Second is building a GTM motion. I am not expert in building a GTM motion, but what we have seen in Whatfix, I would say the success of Whatfix has been attributed, I would say, also to setting up a GTM motion very early in their journey. And I would say from 2015 onwards, we have been having customers from US and other regions. So setting up an inside sales team from India and able to reach out to our customers, I think was something which we were able to crack very, very early. So I would say teams should experiment. First of all, aspire and experiment with your inside sales team, because I think with this current culture post-COVID, I think companies are more open of connecting remotely, and I would say this is the best way to validate your product across the globe. And definitely, I think that is, I would not be able to give deep into the nuances of how to do it, but definitely this is something which we have seen the success, and definitely would advise to start exploring this.
Yeah. Do you think there is an ecosystem play there that could accelerate the GTM story?
I think this already is in motion. As I mentioned, right, many of the startups who reach out to Khadim, the founder of Whatfix, the one definite advice they ask is, how did you set up the GTM motion, right? And one of the early sales folks we have, Prakhar, who was our first, I would say, employee of Whatfix. I think he has been with us since then. And he now leads, I think, a large global sales team for us. So probably a lot of startups reach out to him for advisory just on this point. And then there is Vipul, who has set up our entire demand gen motion for us from the very start. A lot of startups, even investors, reach out to him to set up, help him advise their portfolio of startups or startups themselves. So I think we have set up a good GTM motion, and of course what we have learned, we are trying to pass on to other startups, and other startups are also exploring. So this ecosystem is developing. I believe also, when if you are solving a hard problem and you are not able to solve it, but the moment somebody has solved it, somehow you get that extra optimism to that I can also do it. So I think probably Whatfix has definitely helped there, that if people think that if Whatfix can do it, definitely we can also do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's like setting up the path.
Yeah.
That is very, very inspiring, and we definitely want to see more and more of these successes coming in our stories of for the products from India.
Yeah, of course. We look forward.
In fact, in one of my last episodes, I was talking with Raghu to say that, okay, what does it take to bring the next $1 trillion company from India?
Very difficult to answer, but of course, with this evolution of the ecosystem that is happening, company will come. From where it will come, I cannot answer that, but it is definitely going to come, because I can see almost 25-30 startups that I know of in B2B space that are constantly trying to solve a problem. And I'm sure with the generative AI, a lot of startups are again spawning, which is again going to be a lot of lovely field. I think a lot of incumbents are going to get challenged. A lot of companies like the enterprise software companies, I have a strong belief they are going to get challenged. And from this young lot of companies who I'm sure will spawn one of the $1 trillion companies who is going to target that incumbent.
Yeah, no, I think that is correct. In one of my classes, I remember saying that, first few years back, it would take X number of years to become a unicorn, right? But if you just go back in the last 2 years, it has been these AI companies who have become unicorn in like 1.5 years, right? So that time, so the technology seems to be kind of ramping up a lot of these aspects.
Yeah, the hope and optimism around the addressable market for AI, that's why the valuation.
Right.
I'm sure the revenue should also catch up to valuation.
That's the harder part.
Yeah. But I'm sure because of the entire optimism around AI is also driving a lot of valuation. But your point is right. A lot of these companies will hit their first $100,000 ARR much faster than what probably we have done.
Correct.
Because one, the ecosystem is also developed. They also know what needs to be done and how. And that also is going to add a lot of impetus in how quickly they reach this.
I agree. Yeah, no, that's fine. And those were some great answers, great inputs, and I'm sure a lot of these entrepreneurs and founders who go through this episode are going to have a lot of actionable insights.
I hope so.
Thanks. Okay, now I'm going to get into the next section, which is the rapid fire round. Yeah. What's the biggest misconception about B2B SaaS from India?
That we are still playing on cost arbitrage and not in innovation.
Wonderful. Are big enterprises too slow to adopt new technologies, even if it is good for them?
I would say most often.
The one tech buzzword you never want to hear again.
Disruptive.
Okay, what's the one thing that product leaders should never say to a customer?
That this problem cannot be solved, or we don't want to solve this problem.
Yeah, I don't think any customer wants to hear that.
Yes.
If product management were a sport, what would it be?
I think chess. Yeah.
Why so?
Yeah, because you are there is some strategic planning. Then there is also you adapt also based on how your competitor is moving. So I think it involves all the nuances of the strategic thinking of a product management. How do you adapt to challenges? So that's why chess, I think, is closest to product management.
I think that's a great one. Team spirit, problem solving, to be able to foresee what could be the next 3-4 steps in anticipation, right? So those were some really very up to the point answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, the time just seemed to have run away. But I really, really enjoyed having this conversation with you, Kapil. Thank you for taking the time out. And I know it was a long drive for you to come here. So I really appreciate that, and look forward for fantastic takeaways for the viewers.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope it added some value to you and to your audience.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.